John Fulmer and Stephen Markham. And about midnight, they heard some gunfire outside. And so Joseph gets off of the bed, and he comes down and lays between John Fulmer and Dan Jones. And he turns to Dan Jones, and Joseph says, "Dan, are you ready to die?" And Dan says, "Has that time come, you think?" And then he further said, "Engaged in such a cause, I do not think that death would hold many terrors." So he was saying, if it comes to that, I'm ready to die for the cause. And then Joseph says, "Dan, you're going to live to fulfill the mission you've been called to your native Wales." And Dan, he was this short, 5 foot short, feisty Irish man in Wales, from Wales. And he did. He went back and he converted between 2,000 and 3,000 people there. Just a dynamic, successful missionary. And then Joseph turned to John Fulmer. He stretched out his arm and he said, "John, lay your head on my arm as a pillow." And then he said, "Oh, I'd like to see my family, my children again, and oh to God that I could preach to the good people of Nauvoo again." But he knew his lot. He knew what was coming. So morning came, and Joseph sent Dan and Stephen and John out to do some errands in regard to the trial and the charges and all those things. They begged Governor Ford to do more protection, to let Joseph go back to Nauvoo. But he said, "Oh no, they're fine. Everything will be fine." So then now there are the 4 of them coming on to the evening of the 27th, which is the day of the martyrdom.
June 27th, 1844, dawned cloudy and wet in Carthage. By mid-morning, the air was hot and humid. The prisoners received a few visitors. They also read, conversed, and wrote letters. Joseph wrote to his wife.
"Dear Emma, I am very much resigned to my lot, knowing I am justified and have done the best that could be done. Give my love to the children and all my friends, and may God bless you all."
By afternoon, the mood grew somber. Joseph asked John Taylor to sing a favorite hymn.
A poor wayfaring man of grief hath often crossed me on my way, who sued so humbly for relief that I could never answer nay. I had not power to ask his name, whereto he went, or whence he came. Yet there was something in his eye that won my love, I knew not why.
About 5 p.m. on that hot, sultry afternoon, a large group of armed men, some with faces blackened to disguise their identity, headed for the jail. The prisoners hurriedly closed the door and tried to hold it shut. Members of the mob fired into the door. The first shot grazed the lock. A second came through the door, striking Hiram in the face and killing him almost instantly. A hail of bullets whizzed through the air as the door was forced ajar. John Taylor tried to push away the rifles with his walking stick. Then he stepped back toward the window. He was struck in the hip by a bullet. Another ball from outside struck his watch, knocking him back into the room, onto the floor, and almost under the bed. Joseph also started for the window. 2 bullets from outside struck him in the chest. 2 other bullets hit him in the back. He plunged through the window to the ground below, mortally wounded. When Joseph fell, the mob rushed downstairs to see if he was dead. Willard Richards ran to the window and looked down at the prophet's body. As he turned to leave the room, he heard a gasp.
"Take me with you."
He pulled the wounded John Taylor from under the bed and hid him in the dungeon cell, thinking the mob would probably return. Outside, someone yelled, "The Mormons are coming!" The mob turned and fled. By morning, many of the townspeople had also fled, fearing vengeance for the death of Joseph and Hiram. But the warning shout and the fear it expressed were unfounded. The vengeance never came. The Latter-day Saints were stunned. Joseph and Hiram were gone. John Taylor and Willard Richards survived to bear this witness.
Joseph lived great, and he died great in the eyes of God and his people. And like most of the Lord's anointed in ancient times, has sealed his mission and his works with his own blood. And so has his brother Hiram. In life they were not divided, and in death they were not separated.
So Joseph and Hiram, they sealed their testimony here in this room with their lives. Governor Ford wrote in his memoirs that once the prophet Joseph was gone, that this whole movement, this whole thing, Mormonism, would just die, just go away. Well, Governor Ford lays buried in an isolated part of a cemetery in Peoria, Illinois, while Joseph is revered by millions, and they honor his name and his calling to be the apostle or the prophet of this dispensation.
Is that the actual walking stick?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Actual door, but
Right.
not actual walking stick.
Wow. That's amazing.